If you sell stuff online, the next 10 minutes might legitimately save you 6 months of your life.
Talk to me, I'm listening.
You can save yourself from having to figure out funnels, having to build a website, having to go pay to get traffic to that website. And if you're like most people, you can double your income in 12 months. But if you f it up, it can be a black pit of time and energy that ends up complicating your life. Hey, what's up? I'm Ray Green, former executive turned nomad entrepreneur, and I've been selling services, expertise, consulting, coaching, things like that for over 5 years now. And I've generated more than $2 million in client sales from LinkedIn alone. In fact, we're on track to sell over $1 million this year.
That's pretty good.
But I'm not a complete outlier. In fact, I've coached over 100 entrepreneurs to help them build online, and 6 of them have hit their first $1 million in annual sales, also almost exclusively from LinkedIn. Now, here's why LinkedIn is so unique. It is everything that you need to build, launch, and scale your business. If you're selling anything like coaching, like consulting, like IT services, professional services, anything like that, it is everything that you need. In fact, they make it easy to find traffic. They give you a tool called Sales Navigator that you can buy that says, let us help you make it really easy to go find your target market, to go find your niche and your ICP and get laser focused on them, start conversations with them, and even track conversations with them. So you don't even need a CRM. All of your sources of traffic and leads are living within LinkedIn. On top of that, you don't need to go build a website. You don't need to go get a separate landing page. You don't need to go build a separate sales page because LinkedIn has made that really easy. If you use your LinkedIn profile properly, it can fully replace a website and a funnel. They have given you all of the components that you need to get an offer to market, to find the people to sell it, to help nurture them through the journey, and to close more deals. Now, here's how I do it, and I coach other people to do it. First of all, the first thing you got to do is you got to look at your profile and understand that it is not a personal profile for you. You are not a walking resume. You are an entrepreneur, which means your LinkedIn profile needs to operate just like a funnel. So you look at the top and you say, what does my banner say? Right? Is my banner crystal clear on who I help? Is my banner crystal clear on how I help them? Is it very clear on what I want them to do to take action in order to reach out to me? You've got to have a good profile picture. Your profile picture should be warm, should be welcoming, should be branded. Then you've got your headline. Your headline is one of the single most important things that you can have in your LinkedIn profile, because as you're out engaging with other people's content or starting conversations or reaching out to new people, they're going to see 2 things first. First thing they're going to see is your picture. The second thing they're going to see is your headline. If your headline says CEO of such and such company, your headline is not doing the work for you. You need your headline to say, this is what I do, this is who I help, this is how I do it, this is what I need you to do to reach out to me. If you're not leveraging your headline, you are missing massive exposure because it is shown everywhere that your profile picture is shown. Then you can go down your profile even more. You look at the featured section. The featured section, basically your opportunity to have lead magnets. Like if you had a website, somebody clicked on it to get a free guide or sign up for a newsletter or get a free course, whatever it is, put that in your featured section. Don't put prior posts, don't put content that you've created on LinkedIn unless it's linking them to an asset or something that you're able to get their email address, something like that. Put something valuable in your featured section. Personally, I use our online client acquisition system course, which is completely free for anyone that is building a coaching, consulting, or expertise-based service. They can get that course for free. Cool. Now I've got their email. Now I can continue to market them. I also have an option for people to join my email list. So if they like the content that I'm creating, they can hop over, they can sign up on the email, and they can get more of those. Just make sure that it helps build your authority, your credibility, your trust with your ICP, but make sure that you've got something there so you can take people on the journey off the platform if you want. Then when you scroll down, you've got the About section. The About section is not your life story. It is not your career story. It is not the place to talk about you. You're not trying to get a job. You're trying to sell your services. So that should be market facing. That should be something that you're talking about your client. Again, who do you serve? How do you help? What do you want them to do? That's basically the place that you would write your sales letter. You're experiencing a problem. I've got a solution. Here's how it works. Here's what you need to do to reach out to me. Then at that point, if you want to add something about your background, by all means, go ahead and add some stuff about your background, especially if it boosts authority, credibility, and trust in the services that you're selling, then go ahead and add it in. But you don't want a long diatribe about who you are necessarily. You want it to be about them. So you continue working your way down, then you get to the experience part. Do you have your company page set up? And does the description of your company page also tell them how you can help them and what they need to do to reach out to you. That is the first step in turning your LinkedIn profile into a sales machine, is just looking at it all the way down, saying, I've got my banner, I've got my profile, I've got my headline, I've got my featured section, I've got all the CTAs, I've got all the different tools that LinkedIn has made available for me to help me sell my stuff. I'm checking all the boxes. And the second thing that I did was I started creating content, right? Like I started writing every day. What that did was, one, I started getting some feedback from my market. I started talking about things that I'm an expert in, and I started getting some engagement. People started liking it. And writing allowed me to get my thoughts out there, to see what the responses were, to see what resonated, to measure what resonated, look at what was working, and start doubling and tripling down on the content and on the messaging that was working really well. Now, content does a few things on LinkedIn. It's not like you're going to necessarily post up and you're going to get flooded with inbound leads the next day. But what it does is help you start to get some exposure. And as people are going through your profile, i.e. your sales page, your website, your funnel, they're going to see some of the content that you've been writing. Now, if you've been writing for a little while, they're going to scroll through and they're going to see your messaging. And if everything's dialed in, all that's going to do is pull them more into like your content machine. What most people will actually do is they'll check out your profile, right? Like they'll see something that resonates and they'll go, oh, it's kind of interesting. They may not like it, they may not comment, but what they'll do is they'll check your profile. The one thing that I absolutely love about LinkedIn is the fact that you can see who viewed your profile. So what I did was run a play every single day. Once I just went through the people that had viewed my profile, if they looked like they could at any point ever be a potential client, I said, hey, thanks for stopping by or checking out my profile. Anything that I can help you with. Start conversations. If you're posting consistently and your messaging is good and you're always learning and always iterating, you will get people looking at your profile. And if you don't, that's a data point, right? That means something's not resonating in your content. So take advantage of the eyeballs that you're getting, or if you're not getting the attention that you want, start looking at that and saying, all right, this clearly isn't resonating. What do I need to change in order to make my marketing work for me? Another thing that I did was start looking at the connection requests as an opportunity to start conversations. When people sent me a connection request, every time I accepted, cool, hey, thanks for linking in. What can I help with? What led you to reach out? What led you to connect? Like if they're in your ICP, if they're in your target market, if they are reaching out to you, they raised their hand and they have signaled some interest. Now, who knows? Maybe they're there to sell you something. That's possible, but you don't know unless you ask. I would reach out cold. I wouldn't necessarily pitch them. I wouldn't say like, hey, buy my shit on the first message or the second message or the third message, but I would say, hey, are you open to connecting? And I would get them in my ecosystem, right? And after we connect, the algorithm sometimes says, hey, you might be interested in this person's content. Cool. So now they're potentially seeing my content. Now they're potentially looking at my profile. Now they're potentially going to get another message from me, right? So it works like an ecosystem. The whole thing starts working together when you start putting the pieces together like a puzzle. And then another tool that worked really well for me for a long time was I used the LinkedIn newsletter tool. Like the LinkedIn newsletter is a great opportunity for you to nurture your audience through the journey. Perhaps they just saw a post from you. Cool, they're not ready to buy just yet. Well, hey, I've got a newsletter with more stuff. You don't even have to leave the platform, and I don't even need to get your email address. They're simply clicking a button. They're saying, sure, I'll follow this. Well, now that newsletter shows up in their algorithm. And now it's another opportunity for you to build authority, for you to be seen, for you to create some attention, for you to create some interest, and start more conversations. So you're actually getting subscribers to your newsletter without having to work for it. You have another platform that is working for you to help build your list, because LinkedIn wants your newsletter to be successful. If you're putting out good content, they want other people to see it, because the more time people spend on the platform, the better off LinkedIn is. So if you're creating good content, they're going to go out and promote that newsletter for you. I ended up with like 5,000 subscribers to my LinkedIn newsletter, and I barely promoted it. Now, here's some of the mistakes that I see people make. First of all, they skimp on the profile, right? Like they're using pictures from 13 years ago. Their headline is like showing what their title is, or former companies, doesn't tell people what they want them to do. They're using generic backgrounds. They're not showcasing content. They're talking mostly about themselves. Like they're saying, look at me, instead of talking to their audience. They're not treating their profile like a website. They're not optimizing that profile to convert. They're optimizing that profile to look good or to make themselves feel good, but not necessarily improve conversion. So that's the first thing that I see people doing. The second one is people being afraid to post content. And not even just the posts themselves, although there's obviously a lot of that. Going and engaging with other people's content, go ahead and put in comments and talking to other people and starting conversations and just getting content through newsletters, through the social media posts, through the comments. When you own your own business, you are the head of PR. Like until you've hired a head of PR, you are the head of PR. You are the best sales and marketing person in your business. And if you're afraid to talk about what you do and what you think and how you help and who you help, then don't expect to be heard. It's very difficult to get interest if you haven't created attention first. The third mistake that I see people make is they start putting content out, but it's all over the place, right? Like they treat it like Instagram, they treat it like Twitter. It's inconsistent. It's about them. It's not strategic. It's not on point. LinkedIn is not necessarily a place to share your personal diary. You don't write the same thing on Twitter that you necessarily write on LinkedIn. Your content on LinkedIn should be intentional and should be focused. It should be focused on how you can help people, who you help, what their problems are, what their pains are, what their mistakes are, how you can help all of those things go away. And you want to do that with consistency. Do you have to post every day? No, probably not. Once a day is going to be a hell of a lot better than once a week or once every 2 weeks or once here and there. Another mistake that I see people making is they mistake outreach and starting conversations with spam. Reaching out to a cold audience and offering to connect and invite them into your content and into other things is quite different than saying, hey, let's connect, buy my shit. You want to do outreach, but you want to do it conversationally. You wouldn't walk into a networking event and just walk around with your business card that says, gonna buy my shit, gonna buy my shit, gonna buy my shit. Like the platform is just littered with spammers right now. And the best way to stand out is start legitimate conversations, allow your profile, allow your headline, allow your banner, allow your featured section, allow your content to do some of the heavy lifting for you. If all of those things are optimized, then you aren't gonna have to spam people because everything is gonna be on point. What you wanna do is you wanna understand the whole ecosystem, when it's fully optimized, can make your life so much easier that you can drive 7 figures before you've had to build a website, before you've had to build a funnel, before you've had to build an email sequence, before you've had to build all of these things that actually trip most people up. They get stuck in all of those things and they never get to selling stuff. Like they never get to having conversations. So set up a good profile, get it dialed in, start your outreach, create some content, get all the pieces working together for you, and then listen to what your market says and keep iterating. It's how I've driven more than 7 figures from the platform. It's how many of my clients have driven more than 7 figures from the platform. And if you do it right, it's how you can drive more than 7 figures from the platform. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more business tips. I appreciate your time. Adios.